Hello everyone, I'm Ashley Webber, founder and CEO of the Don't Make 'Em Like That Anymore. I'm also an accomplished singer, pianist, guitarist and drummer. I'm also an impersonator / tribute artist. I've been entertaining for around 10 and a half years, and I recently resigned from my full-time position as a police officer to entertain full-time on a professional basis. I'm also an accredited and experienced trainer, tutor and public speaker. I thought I'd make a very quick video just to share with you some of the, in my opinion, most important points to consider if you're booking a live act for an up and coming celebration. Maybe it's a family reunion, bit of a knees up for one of your venues, a retirement party, an anniversary, a revival, something special, maybe even your wedding. Whether it's a comedian, instrumentalist, singer, band, a cappella group, solo artist, tribute act, whoever it may be. So I'm making this video for anyone who has got an up and coming celebration, and the reason that I'm making it is I acknowledge that unless you are in the entertainment industry, or perhaps you run an agency, or you're in an agency, or you're booking acts on a regular basis, it's a little bit of a minefield. It's very, very confusing, and there are 1,000,001 questions that you should ask and things that you need to factor into your final decision. So sit back and enjoy the following points, and I sincerely hope it's helpful for you. Number one, and this is going to sound very, very obvious, who is your entertainment for? Have you always thought, and I use the example of your wedding, as it's what most people are generally booking entertainment for, have you ever imagined your big day with or without entertainment? Is it what you want? Why are you considering booking your act, whoever it is, comedian, singer, etc., etc.? Are you booking an act because you think it's what you should do? Do you think it's standard? Are you thinking that you should do it because that's what other people would expect to see? Maybe you're keeping up with the Joneses. Make sure that you want live entertainment. Don't just consider booking it because you think you should. It will make your day incredibly memorable. It's a very unique, bespoke thing to do, but make sure it's what you actually want, first and foremost. Thirdly, those all important points. There are literally 1,000,001 questions that you should ask, but hopefully I've just grouped together some of the key ones based on my experience and things that I will always tell my clients and answer. So, things to consider. Is the price quoted going to be the final price that you're paying? Are there likely to be any last minute additions to that? Secondly, what's the cancellation policy of your act? Something arises, an emergency situation, God forbid, something has gone wrong, something doesn't happen, something isn't happening. What's in place to safeguard against that? Thirdly, are your acts willing to travel the distance required? Is there anything else that you need to be factoring into the financial equation regarding excess fuel if it's a very long journey, accommodation if it's a very, very long journey, and what's the eating situation? A lot of people don't think that they need to cater for their acts. Now that doesn't mean by any means make them part of the sit-down meal. Plate of sandwiches or portion of chips, something like that is absolutely fine. But extra things you might not think about, just get into a state of play early. Do you provide your own lighting rig, your own lighting setup? Can we have a little look at that? The sample repertoire that you've sent, how flexible is that and how much notice are you going to need to add or take anything out of it? Do you take requests on the nights? Are you in a position where you could download music if you're providing a recorded set fairly quickly? Are the timings for your sets, whether it's an hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, 1 3-hour set, whatever it is, how flexible is that? How set in stone is that? Very, very important points now, folks. Public liability insurance, and you're going to need to make sure that your act has portable appliance tested equipment, so PAT certificates. Now, any good self-respecting entertainer is going to have these two things. It's a basic requirement, but a lot of venues won't ask to see these until the 11th hour. So public liability insurance and PAT certificates. Your act may have them, but make sure they have them to hand so that they can send them to the venue. Because if for whatever reason there's a hiccup last minute, those forms can't be found, the act isn't covered anymore, or it's expired, it wasn't renewed, your act can refuse to, your venue can refuse to use them, quite rightly so. And at the 11th hour, that could be an absolute nightmare. Okay, that's a list of some of the main things. Okay, so distance, is the price final? What's the cancellation, the emergency policy? How set in stone are the set list? Can we add or take anything away from that in terms of timings? Is the cost final? Public liability insurance, PAT testing, lighting rig. Guys, there are thousands of questions that you can ask, but in my opinion, those ones are the key, most important ones. Also, don't be afraid to ask your act, if it's possible, to meet in person. See, most people meet their photographer, maybe even meet the florist. Why not meet your DJ or your entertainer? Are you able to meet us at the venue? That might not be a possibility, but could we do a Skype call? Can we talk to you? Because professionally, your act, whatever service they may be providing, may tick every single box, but your personalities just might clash. You're buying from the person. You surely want to make sure that you can get on with the person, that you like them, that your personalities don't clash, that you're on the same page. So ask to meet with your entertainer. If they're not in a position to do that, and I've had this, they'll offer the very next best thing. I'm free for a call at any time. You can Skype me. We can do a point-to-point screen conversation, Zoom conference, whatever it may be. So speak to them in person. Get to know more than just the act. Get to know the person behind it. Find out why they do what they do. How long have they been doing it? Never be afraid to ask for a performance CV. A list of places that you've performed, recent clients, recent testimonials. What are the social media handles? You know, are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Have a look. Those videos that you've got on YouTube and on your website, have you got anything slightly more up to date? Never be afraid to ask those questions and push for that meeting. Now on to the most important key thing to think about, and that is the cost. It's the price. Now, as somebody who's once organised a wedding, my own wedding, as an entertainer, as a business person, I know ultimately, if we are talking about a wedding, every penny counts. I know, I've been there, and we respect that ultimately that's going to be your key deciding factor. One thing that I'm going to say to you, and you've heard this before, don't just go for the cheapest. What I would also say, sharp intake of breath, don't instinctively be drawn to the more expensive. It might be that your most expensive one is just self-entitled and overpriced. It might be that your cheaper act is maybe not that good. Maybe they're just starting out. Perhaps they're trying to grow. Maybe they do a shorter set. Perhaps they don't have certain things in place. Maybe their lighting rig isn't that good. Maybe they haven't been going as long. They haven't got established videos, content, a CV, a client list, testimonials. It, however, might be that they're just in a position to offer their service for a very, very cheap price. So what I'm saying is, don't just think price tag. Because what you're doing straight away then is isolating 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 potential fantastic performers, but you're writing them off yourself based on the price tag. What I would have a look at is some of your cheaper acts, some of your mediocre priced acts, and some of your very expensive acts, and have a look and ask the acts if they can justify why, if they're offering similar services but the prices are so different, why is there that gap? Put the onus, put the spotlight back on the entertainer. It's what we do. We perform live, that's what we live for. So ask and have a look at the value of what is being offered for the price tag, not just the price tag itself. Have a look at your entertainer, ask the questions that we've already spoken about. Do you like them? Are you a good fit? And then decide whether that quote is value. Now, you might have somebody who's charging you £200, £300, £400 more than somebody else, but they are prepared to travel further. They've been in the game a lot longer. They have a bigger client list. They can play for longer. They have a bigger, better lighting rig. They have better quality equipment. That might not be the case. But steer away from, that's the price bracket I'm looking at and that's it. Forget everything else, because you're not doing yourself any favours. Have a look at a handful of performers, look at what they're offering for what they're charging and decide whether that is value. And let's face it, as entertainers, we are business people. We don't want to let people down. We want to help people. We want to provide for you, for your entertainment, for your big day, whatever it may be. So have that conversation about money. Don't write people off based purely on what you initially see in black and white as a fee. Go beyond it, look at the value, look at what's on offer for the price tag and go from there. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a point that can't be overstated enough, safety. Now, your entertainer will make regular contact with the venue. We will engage with the entertainment organiser, the event management there. We'll discuss access points, access times, parking, safety measures, provide method statements, the PAT certificates, public liability insurance, policy, procedures. We will discuss all of that, PowerPoints, etc., etc. But make sure when you visit your venue for the first time, you ask two questions. Number one, can we provide our own entertainer? I've never heard a venue say no, but you're always better to ask that question early on. Number two, where will they be? And then have a very, very quick look, and as a bystander, does it look safe? The reason I bring that up is as recently as 3 months ago, so this year, 2018, a band who are very good friends of mine were asked to perform at a wedding at a very well-established outer London wedding venue. They were directed to a 5 metre squared patch of damp, uneven grass under a marquee which was leaking in the corner. No generator available, and the power was going to be running from an extension lead plugged into another extension lead from the main building some 10-20 metres away. It was just ridiculously unsafe. If you can imagine the 10, 11, 12 outputs, amps, lights, PA system, etc., that needed to be plugged into an extension, running off of somewhere else, damp, wet, uneven. The band were not able to be relocated anywhere. They had to walk away. Folks, if it isn't safe, a performance cannot take place. We're talking about electricity. It isn't just about serious damage to potentially the lives and or the equipment of the entertainer. It's the safety of everybody around as well, okay? If you're ever faced with that circumstance, all right, it is not your entertainer being divas or being difficult. The last thing that an entertainer will want to do is to let you down, particularly on your big day. It's horrible for you. It's very bad for our reputation. We don't like to do it. But it comes down to saving lives. And if it's not safe, it can't happen. Your wedding insurance, if you had it, would be void if there was a clearly unsafe performance area, but it took place anyway. The band or your entertainer's public liability insurance would not cover them. And if, God forbid, it's a home performance and something went wrong, it wasn't safe, we're talking about water, etc., bad circuitry, your home insurance would not cover you for that. So some things to think about there, okay? Your entertainer will ask all the key questions and do all the communicating with the venue, with the staff there, but make sure, A, can we provide an entertainer? B, where will they go? If you're not sure, ask us and we'll ask those questions, but try to make sure that you address those first 2 points as soon as you can. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you've liked what you've seen, please like the page, please subscribe. I'll be posting regular content like this, and my aim is just to guide you through the process of booking entertainment, whatever the occasion, whatever kind of act it is that you're after. Give you some things to think about, some points to consider, some questions to think about asking, things that you'll need to see, and just make the whole process a little bit less intimidating. I'm Ashley Webber, CEO of They Don't Make 'Em Like That Anymore, established entertainer, and thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon.